Hi guys, it's Dan.
And Tyler.
Tyler's going to leave.
Great intro. Yep, what's up guys? Today, a different style podcast it's similar to a podcast you'll see very soon. But me and Dan basically recorded a podcast based off on conspiracy theories, because something that...
One sec. We'll go for a slightly zoom.
Okay.
Just so you can see our beautiful fucking faces.
So basically, we just spoke about specific conspiracy theories and what we were interested in, and one of them that we didn't talk about because we wanted to make a separate podcast on it was Bob Lazar. Now,
That crazy bastard.
That crazy bastard.
That crazy bastard, Bob Lazar.
Now, for those of you who don't know I'm going to assume you do, but for those of you who don't,
we're in 2022.
Yeah.
We never assume.
Okay.
Not even genders.
Okay. Anyway, I'm pushing over that. Bob Lazar was...
I never know how to sit in my chair, dude. I never know. I'm zoomed in too far now.
Oh, for God's sake. Nice and raw, this one.
Yeah, I just never know how to sit. Because I want to support my neck and then look at me.
You just... Anyway, Bob Lazar was basically a reverse engineer kind of scientist, and
he was a physicist.
Thank you. And he was basically working... Where was he working at the start?
Los Alamos.
No, there was something before that. No, that's it. He was working at MIT.
He got a degree in MIT.
Yes.
I think is what it's called. Is the way that you say it? MIT is a degree.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think.
And he started working at a place called Los Alamos, where he was recruited.
Yeah.
To work at a site that he called S4. Now, this site...
He never knew the location for ages, did he? Because they kept on putting a bag over his head.
Yeah, because they didn't want him to know, give any information.
And he couldn't tell his wife where he worked.
No, it was very... it's not surprising, it was very kind of confidential.
Aloof?
Huh?
Is that a word?
Aloof?
Like, they were all very aloof? I'm going to Google that.
I've never... that one.
I've said a word now.
Okay, while Dan's Googling whether his word exists...
It does.
Okay.
It does. ALOOF. Not very friendly or forthcoming, so they weren't very forthcoming with the...
Since when have you... I've never heard you say that word ever. Okay, I'll give you props for that one. He was working at a place he later described to be S4, which we found out later on is a few miles away from the famous Area 51.
Am I right in saying that it's in Area 51,
I think it
but
is.
not at the main bits? It's like in a small section.
Yeah, it's like a couple miles away, I think he said. It's off site.
Yeah.
But, it all started where he came forth on the news, completely anonymous. His body was kind of blacked out, and he started basically describing these things he saw at S4. He started talking about flying saucers. He started talking about this element that didn't exist, coming out with all these claims, and naturally people were like, what the hell?
The thing that was very odd is I believe that the broadcast was actually interrupted. They lost him, so they were like, "Oh, we've lost him."
Yeah,
and basically the CIA cut his radio frequency to the station. So take that as you will. You know, if they didn't have anything to hide, why would you cut somebody off?
Yeah, makes perfect sense, doesn't it? But yeah, what we found so interesting was that something that's so elusive, so confidential, even today we know hardly anything about, because it's kept so under wraps. To hear someone come out and make these solid claims and pretty much describe things word for word, you couldn't... I mean, for me personally as well, I couldn't help but feel compelled to know more. Like, how do you know these things?
He's a very believable person, and it's either by pure coincidence or he worked there.
Yeah.
They're the two options, because he either worked there, or it's just by pure coincidence that he's managed to get so many things right.
Yeah, it's just the way he. I mean, at the end of the day, when you factor
so his story's never changed over like 30 years, or something. It's never changed.
Kept in. I mean, I've heard it multiple times. I've even watched a documentary. He says the same things all the time, and it turned out like when he was kind of telling everyone about this, you could see when you look at the plus and minuses of him coming out to tell this story. He's got a family. He's got people he cares about. Like. There's nothing that would benefit him if he just came out and lied. No,
there was a lot more negatives than what there were positives for him to come out.
He said people were watching him, he was getting, like, people, like, government questioning him. I think he had people go in his house or something like that.
His house gets raided on the regular. His house got raided earlier this year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or like last year, his house got raided again. Because they think that he has...
He has some of the element...
Yeah, they think, and they can't... Each time they search it, they never find it.
Mm. But yeah, so he was in charge. His basic little project was to go in to this S4 base, and they provided him with a spacecraft, like a flying saucer.
But it was only a part of it. Am I right?
No,
it wasn't the whole thing.
I think it was the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
His job. I think they had a series of different crafts, and him and another reverse engineer. Their task was to pretty much dismantle it and figure out how it was working so we can repeat it.
So to go back a little bit, just for other people that were like, oh, why doesn't he like just go speak to other people at work? When he went to this S4, he went into like a little door and they would like escort him there. And the only other person that he spoke to was his lab partner.
Yeah.
He didn't know what any other people were doing. He didn't know what they were working on, how long they'd been there for.
They would give him no information.
So, like, you could see people potentially working next door, but you would never be allowed to speak to them. You don't know how long they've been working on. Because what I think he said was actually, if they actually had a team of people that worked together instead of having, like, two people, you might be able to cross-reference some things that might unlock some stuff on you're stuck on.
Yeah, so I think, in terms of the details of it, this element 115, they were using it to kind of revert it in simple terms. We kind of reverse engineer gravity because the spaceship worked on using gravity to
hover like a magnet.
Yeah, that's the way we can think about it. We might not be fully correct on that, but that's why when people say like the claims about flying saucers, they never hear anything because it's essentially flying with no engine. No, nothing. Using pure gravity and whatever is whatever reaction with this element 115. And I just realised something. Element 115 is the thing that was used in Call of Duty Zombies.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it just clicked. Because I think there's actual.
it actually does. It says what is 115 Zombies Call of Duty.
Yeah. I knew it. But yeah, some of the things he described was to get into the base itself, you had a hand scanner, and he described it in such detail.
Can I just put in about element 115?
Yep, go ahead.
So element 115 is called Moscovinum.
Moscovinum, interesting.
And they say reactivity of the super heavy element 115 MC and its lighter
what?
homologue.
What? Let me look. Reactivity.
Homologue behind a respect. Okay, this means I'm just trying to find out what it actually does. So apparently it absorbs energy. So yeah, it like absorbs energy and sort of repels. It's kind of the best way that I can sort of, in my, element 115, the infamous alien element mentioned by Bob Lazar over a decade ago, is added to the periodic table. So I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but we'll sort of put it in the timeline. He came out with this element years ago. He said there is an element called 115. It is called this, and it has these properties. This is what it does. Everybody called him a fucking lunatic, and then in the early 2000s they went, element 115. We're going to add that to the periodic table. Nobody came up with that before. We've only just found it. Slip it into the periodic table.
Yeah.
It's basically how it went. So it had a temporary name, which was unearthopentium. I've butchered that. Was its temporary name. It's an extremely radioactive element. Its most stable known isotope is a 289. Has a half-life of only 220 milliseconds, which is...
That's ridiculous.
So, like, half-life, I believe, is like when there's a radioactive outbreak, you have, like, a half-life.
Oh, it's hard to describe. I used to study it. I think half-life is the decay rate.
Yes, it is.
It's the decay rate of the element itself. So that is a ridiculous millisecond as well. Like,
yeah.
So, like, for example, if you were to transport it from A to B, how long it would take for it to decay and stuff.
Well, it's like if we look at the half-life of like Chernobyl. There we go. Chernobyl half-life. So, like, just to put it in perspective, the half-life. So, the elements released have a half-life of 8 days, 29 years, and 30 years. But the isotopes are sort of still in the thing. Wow. So, okay, so here it is. It says, in the reserve remains plutonium-239, which they say has a half-life of 24,000 years.
Jesus.
So yeah, so that's a bit about Chernobyl. It has a half-life of roughly about 24,000 years.
That's crazy. But yeah, he came up with this element and he was discredited over and over again until it actually came out as being completely true and he got added to the periodic table, which just says, you know, he can't be lying if he's...
And he had the properties right. It's like, it's weird because it must be that scientists, once they come up with a number, that they can't move away from it.
Yeah.
Because you would, unless they'd already had all of these numbers and that was the next one, but to get that number right, because they could have gone, this is element 114,
yeah,
or 206, but they gave it the same element name, and it does the same element. It had the same properties as well, what was quite interesting.
Absolutely. I think another thing to back him up, he brought a group of people and actually showed, because apparently
didn't he have his friends that then got escorted off of...
They had demonstrations where they pretty much test
like
flew.
Every Tuesday or something.
Yeah, they test flew the aircrafts on the site, and they did it specific timing, specific day, and obviously Bob knew that, so he basically took a bunch of his friends that he trusted and was like, look, I'll prove to you this is what's going on. And as he said, around the same time, you see the lights spit, like, kind of the...
And they got escorted up. Let me just dig into... Sorry, you carry on talking.
Yeah, I think they got escorted off eventually, but they tried to stay around and watch it, and you could see on the video, it's very poor quality, because obviously it's old, but you could see the lights in the sky. You can clearly see that it's not just a plane, that is a hovercraft, or... You know,
I can't find what I was looking for, but yeah, he shows his friends, and isn't it? So I think back in the early, whenever this was happening, like the 80s and 90s, people were very terrified about an alien sort of abduction and gonna killers and things.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that was why they were trying to control it, because as of recent, the CIA and militaries have been releasing tapes saying, here's an unidentified object, and we don't know how it's flying like that. Here's all of the tapes, like you got the Tic Tacs, as they call them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. They're slowly coming out about.
Yeah, it's weird. Like they're
slowly.
Yeah, it's like But it's like maybe they're doing the like they show it in the TV programs, they're showing it in movies, and then when we actually see it in real life, we're like, oh well, we've seen all of this stuff before on the telly, like conditioning.
Yeah, to not freak everyone out.
Yeah, but no, they're releasing more and more about it. Military people are even sort of coming forward, and they're being shushed as well. Some of the military, from what I've heard about what they can and can't say about certain things.
Yeah, they're slowly coming out and releasing documents. It's like that one that was released months ago about that aircraft where these jet pilots were following this aircraft.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, I don't know what the hell this is.
Is that the one where they struggle to lock onto it and then they finally lock onto it?
It goes through the water or something, doesn't it?
It goes, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy, that is.
But, so yeah, I think you just touched on it, going back to Bob. He described, like, a hand scanner and all of these things, and I don't know how, or if they did I don't know what, but they also found out that hand scanner was real.
Yeah, they had a picture of it.
Yeah, like that. I don't know if S4 took a picture of something, but what he described about Area 51 and S4 and the stuff that he saw and the images that were slowly getting back out all match up to what he said all of them years ago.
Yeah, you can't call it a coincidence.
But they try to wipe him off MIT said that he never got a degree there. Los Alamos said that he never had a job there. He couldn't vouch for anybody because he didn't know anybody's name at S4. They were trying to say that he was crazy and all of these things. They basically try to wipe him off the face of the planet.
They saw him as a threat to their intelligence, so they kind of did what they could to make out he was some sort of crazy guy talking absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it was just mental.
But, you know... They made a have you actually seen the documentary on it?
I haven't.
It's worth a watch. It's interesting. It is interesting. It's well done. I can't remember who it was. By Corby or I can't remember his name. But yeah, that's generally we just found that particularly interesting out of all those conspiracy. Well, you can't call it a conspiracy theory, can you? It's more just.
It's one of them things of what do you believe? Is it real? Is it not real?
Well, it all reverts back to do you believe in aliens? And personally, I would think myself as being extremely arrogant and naive to say aliens don't exist. We are the only intelligent life.
Yeah.
When you factor in...
Oh, I heard a theory the other day, you know.
What's that?
So, I was scrolling through TikTok.
What do you do?
As you do. And it was, there's these higher beings. So you know, like, we have, like, the pyramid gods and stuff?
Yeah.
The pyramid gods where they're, like, really tall. And there's also a lot of lizards written about in, like, pictures back in the day. Like, back in Egypt times, you see a lot of lizards and stuff being, like, scribbled on things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these higher beings said, you need to stop helping humankind. They need to get their own shit together. You need to leave. And the lizard reptilians stayed and became a part of, like, the elites.
Mm-hmm.
And the Egyptian god people fucked off.
Is that why they say that some of the higher people in society are lizard people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we get onto that?
Huh?
How did we get onto that there?
Because I was on about believing in aliens, and then you...
sorry, my fucking brain. See, this is the thing of it, are humans just arrogant?
I think we are.
Like, to think that... What about if aliens just see us as a piece of shit? Like...
Don't blame them.
No, but like, we call ourselves intelligent, and what about if to them we're not intelligent? What about if we're like an ant to them?
Oh, yeah.
And they go, so they're on a planet that they're destroying, and they're not doing anything to fix it.
Yeah.
So they're going to wipe themselves out. That's not intelligent.
I think that was one of the theories. I think there was one theory that said, in terms of alien life, people were saying that aliens aren't going to contact us, and basically until we sort our shit out because we're on a path to destruction.
Yeah, like we might not even be intelligent. Like that, we might be as intelligent as what we think an ant is intelligent.
Yeah, but it's like that. with technology, with all these nukes and destruction, I think that was another part of it. Aliens, they said that aliens wouldn't want to provide us with their technology because we just use it for
war. Yeah, we would just use it. That maybe they're all civilized. Like all of these planets are civilized, and we're not.
But no,
and they look at us and they go, so they're killing each other over land that they could. Why don't they all just use? You've got rich people, you've got poor people. You've got people threatening people all the time. What they might just see us as just not worth their time.
I wouldn't blame them, to be fair. But like we said, the whole arrogance and naive, to think we're one planet amongst an abundance of planets
that we can't even get to.
Not just that, but amongst and that is just one galaxy. Then you factor in all the other galaxies that are in this universe, and that's only our observable. That's the only what we can see.
Yeah. Think about all the other stuff that we can't see.
And then you factor in the whole fucking multiverse theory, and then you've got almost an infinite amount. What about
also if aliens just look at us and think we've got half or 20% of the population that they think the world is flat?
Okay, with that level of intelligence, I'm not getting involved in that in that species. Fuck that.
Yeah, like they just look at us and they go, they really think. So, do you want to know what? Sorry, this is flat Earth is going to be something that we cover.
Okay.
The thing, quick tangent. The flat Earthers only think Earth is flat. Everything else is round. So they think Mars is round, the Moon is round, Jupiter is round, but Earth is flat.
With that logic...
It makes no sense though, does it?
But with that logic...
all of them should be flat.
With that logic, Earth does not abide by the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Because how does gravity form that sphere, but gravity just doesn't work properly when it comes to... it's been proven that gravity cannot function the correct way if the Earth was just flat.
Anyway, back to Bob. That's for another day. Because I fucking flat Earth, man. Fucking waste. That's almost as... do you want to know what's annoying? It's have you heard that theory, if we didn't look at the Bible and stuff and charity and religions, that technology might be a lot more advanced. We spent that long trying to prove that God wasn't real that we slowed ourselves down technologically.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually quite interesting.
So what about if they just look at us and they just think you guys are fucking wasting your time chatting about fucking flat Earth, you dickheads.
Just imagine a bunch of aliens just gossiping, going, "Look at these fucking humans."
It just frustrates me. Anyway, back to Bob. Just tell me something about Bob before I start. Wrecking flat Earth.
As you can see, Dan is quite passionate about the Earth being round and not flat. They're
just fucking wasting time, aren't they?
Yeah, but
NASA's fake, because I went on Google Maps and I went into the desert and I found a NASA van and a thing that looks like the Mars rover in a place that kind of looks like Mars. How about they're just fucking testing something that will go on Mars before it goes on fucking Mars?
Wait, they use that as evidence that we didn't go to Mars?
Honestly, somebody went... You know the main flat Earth guy? He's kind of bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was if you go on Google Maps and you put these coordinates in, you'll see a fucking yellow van, and if you turn a little bit, you'll see a thing that looks like the Mars rover. They're fucking lying to you. They're just using cameras, and they're changing the contrast just to make it fucking look like Mars. And it's you do realise that they've proven that Mars had running water, had rivers, had ravines, had plants, so there will be similarities. And also, how about they go to somewhere like a desert that is similar to Mars to test the fucking Mars rover before it goes to fucking Mars?
It's all perspective, innit?
They're fucking wasting their time, man.
People believe what they want to believe. Everyone has their own view on things.
But they take it to the extreme, don't they? They go, I've shone a light over the distance that there should be where I can't see light. and you go, is the world completely flat? No, you've got hills and mountains. So you might say over, because this is the one thing that kills me. They go, if you, what was I saying? I think I've got something wrong with me. What was I saying?
You just talking about shining a light to the point.
Oh yeah, right. There's an equation that over a certain amount of curvature you shouldn't be able to see light, or you shouldn't be able to see over the horizon. Right. So this dude set up a light, that distance, and he was able to see it. And somebody went, "You do realise that the sea level's is 100 plus something here, and something plus here, so you are going to see it." But also, have you seen that that dude did the experiment where he went, the world's flat, and he had a long tube. He had a long tube. He had like a it wasn't like a tube. It was like a piece of paper. Yeah. With a hole cut out of it, with a light shining through it, and then about 3 miles down the road, where the curvature, they did that equation again, and he set up another piece of paper so that the light would shine onto another black piece of paper. Yeah. And he turned the light on, and they go, "Have you turned it on?" And they go, "Yeah, I've turned it on. I can't see the light." And then they work out the equation like, move the paper down up 3 meters. They move it up 3 meters, and guess what? The light shines on the piece of paper. Flat Earther, instead of going, "Oh, the world's round," he goes, "Interesting."
That is always... Sorry.
When they get disproved, we're now ranting because Flat Earth is just fucking annoying.
Yeah, I can't... I'm struggling to move the topic back onto Bob Lazar because Dan won't start talking about it.
Fucking Flat Earth, man.
But not even just Flat Earth. When I see TikToks
anything
with people being disproved or blatantly wrong, instead of going, "Oh yeah, you got a point," instead of agreeing, they either go, "That's a good question,"
or they leave,
or they just go, or they make some weird noise, or basically just avoiding the fact, "Oh yeah, I'm wrong." They don't. Anyway, Bob Lazar, people they don't the universe could have a multiverse. I believe aliens have got to exist. We can't be the only intelligent life.
I just think that they're just looking at us laughing.
Probably.
And they go, "You can't run a piss up in a brewery. You can't. You just fuck it like that. If we showed you what we would have, you'd kill you would kill yourself in about a day."
Yeah, that would be funny though. If we had the technology that they did, that's probably why they don't give it to us or don't show it to us, because we'd probably end up destroying the planet 20 times faster than what we are doing already.
But we're meant to be intelligent, but yet we all can't agree on global warming, and we think that global warming doesn't exist.
Okay, Dan, we're moving into...
I'm sorry. Bob Lazar. How
long have we gone for now?
28 minutes.
Right, okay, and about half of that was on Bob Lazar.
Sorry. Go back to Bob Lazar. I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's fine. What was we talking? Oh, now I'm losing track of. I think we
do a quick summary, and then we'll get back on to we'll pick up naturally. Quick summary of Bob Lazar.
So yeah, he basically. It was a big risk for him to come out and basically say this is how things are, because he knew the legalities, he knew everything was very under wraps, he knew he had to hardly say anything about it, he wasn't being told anything. So to come out and say it on the news itself, that was a massive, massive risk for him. Like Dan said, he's still getting raided now, to this day. Like, they're not leaving him alone, and I think to a degree he probably regrets that. I did see.
We just heard there, didn't we, that he wishes that he never said anything because he would have then found out how the aircrafts work.
Yeah. He said it was by his own hand that he got removed from those projects, and he did say he regretted that because being involved in the peak of technology, he found it so interesting, and he wasn't even interested in the whole aspect of aliens and looking into flying aircraft, whatever. It was a technology, because obviously he was a reverse engineer, that really, really interested him and really got him interested in how things worked, and I think the fact that he didn't find out how it worked, he didn't get a chance to study it enough, is what bothers him, because it's like being given something. Oh, this doesn't exist. Oh, you get that interest.
Yeah, you get that little. It's like the carrot on the end of the stick, isn't it?
You're trying to figure out. Oh, how does this work? And then by the time you're trying to get your answer, you've kind of just screwed it for yourself, and you can't find out anymore. But I think eventually.
But there is a bunch of people that believe him, and there's a bunch of people that very much don't believe him, and there's never really a midway point.
No.
You either believe him or you don't, and you either believe him because his stories never change, it's very credible, or you think it's a load of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we said before, everyone has their views, as outlandish as they can be. Everyone has their own perspective on things, on how they perceive things to be true or false and whatever, and everyone has their own mindset on different things. People are never going to fully agree, no matter how like we said with Flat Earth, like no matter how obvious things can be, there'll always people that will be. And to be honest, I do think some of that disagreement or starting something that's blatantly obvious as being untrue is more to do with publicity than anything else.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly run through the reasons why people don't believe him.
Okay.
There's no record of him working for the government.
Which we already proved that they'll probably wipe his record on that anyway. I dare bet he probably just proved that.
So he supposedly has no. But again, no one had even heard of S4 base before 1989, and he put it on the map. So basically, what people are saying is that nobody knew about S4.
Of course they did.
No, nobody did before 1989 until he said something.
Yeah, but they're not gonna know, are they?
Yeah, so people are going, wait, so you're telling me he never worked for the government, but nobody knew about S4 until he said something. So he must know something to know about this. So basically, so we look further back into his history. If we can't verify he worked at the lab, surely he had previous. So basically, except there are no records of him working as a physicist at Los Alamos. So he said that he worked at this place, and they're saying that he never. They're saying that he never worked there. He claimed he attended both Caltech and MIT. Guess what? That's right, neither institution has a record of him attending. So the thing is that they wiped him from everything that he has that could prove that he did it. But that's not hard to do. So people are going, oh, he MIT say that he never went there. Yeah, but if the government tell you to say that he never went there, or they just delete his records, you're not going to fucking know that he went there.
Yeah.
And then, however, members of a Netflix documentary supposedly got in contact with old friends of Lazar who claimed to have dropped him off for classes at Caltech. They name-dropped the people they talked to, but never interviewed them. I swear I spent over an hour trying to find the person on Google that they mentioned, to no avail. So they can't verify anything in his life, which is a little bit of a disappointment because they can't verify anything, there's no starting point if Bob Lazar is telling the truth or lying. And the other thing that is a bit fishy is that Bob Lazar name drops every single person that he dealt with.
Yeah.
And the people that he name drop refuse to go on camera.
Oh, I wonder why.
So they never say, yeah, I'll go on camera and I'll just say that it was a load of bollocks. They just straight up refuse.
But I say, you don't refuse something like that unless his claims are true.
And basically what they're saying is the reason why there's so much controversy is because nobody can claim whether he's lying or if it's the truth. Here you have people on one side claiming to have recruited him, claiming to have dropped him off at school, and even apparently false. So there's a newspaper clipping of him doing something with physics at Caltech, and then the newspaper went, "Oh no, it was a printing error." So you wrote a whole article about him, and it was a printing error.
Okay, sure. How do you write a full article on someone that's an error?
People on his side claiming to have recruited him, claiming to have dropped him off at school, and even apparently a falsely written newspaper clipping. On the other side, there is no evidence he attended the schools, not even a former roommate or friend, and no evidence he worked at any of the labs. I will say there is a lot of claim that he worked under contract at Las Alamos as a janitor or something like that, but not too familiar. So apparently he did work at some places, and maybe it is all a big cover-up, because they're saying that there is a potential that he worked as just like a cleaner at Los Alamos. Yeah, that place. His mysterious past seems to mark as a mere conspiracy theorist, yet the Pentagon recent videos of unidentified flying objects seem to fly eerily similar to his prediction, even defying the wind and moving belly up. Almost 20 years after he predicts it, element 115 becomes a reality. Granted, it isn't stabilised, but it still exists. So what people say is 115, what he says is the element, doesn't exist. Because he says it propels gravity and things can just float.
Mm-hmm.
What 115 does at the minute, it doesn't do that. But they don't think they've got it to a stable state. What means they don't think they've got it to the state that he would have worked with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Granted, it isn't stabilised, but it still exists. He also predicted a hand scanner used at S4 that measured bone density to ensure you were really you. That also was apparently invented in the last few years. So basically, people were saying that you couldn't scan bone density, and there's now been a machine that does it.
Interesting.
Bob Lazar is an incredibly controversial name. What do you do when you have a man making outlandish claims that slowly appear to be checking out, but you can't verify anything about his background or story? In my mind, you have to be cautious not to fall down the rabbit hole. There is nothing to validate his claims. At the same time, weird things keep on popping up that seem to vindicate him. So let's have a quick run through of the stuff that he. So he worked at S4 at Area 51, doing reverse engineering for self-propelled or self-levitating aircraft. He comes out with all of these outlandish claims. Some of them come true or start to become true in years and years and years later. What is your opinion?
Me personally, I think he's 100% telling the truth. There's too much evidence, in my opinion, and a part of me wants to believe it, even if there's evidence proving otherwise, because it's that, that fascination with it.
Yeah.
So part of me's leaning towards that anyway. But I feel like he has no reason to lie. There's no evidence that conclusive that have proved that he's just bullshitting. I think he's telling the truth about it. And I think probably in later years, the more that comes out, the more it will probably find he is telling the truth. And who knows? He might even come out again and say, like, this, or reveal something that is happening.
I think.
But to be honest, with age and everything, because I think I did hear him say that he does get sick of telling the story all the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's had to repeat it no end of times.
And his story has stayed the same the entire time.
Yeah.
And people who have spoke to him afterwards have said he comes across very, like.
He seems like an honest guy, doesn't he?
You can normally get a feeling when somebody's bullshitting you or like putting a bit on, and they say that he doesn't seem to be. I want to believe it. The thing of like, you can't tell the MIT, you can't tell where he last worked, all of his education doesn't check out, all of this. All of that could be erased.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially by the people he's pretty much outing.
Yeah.
They're big people with power that can do things like that.
So all of that stuff you have to take with a pinch of salt. on his behalf and that there's no evidence, because it is very easy to wipe that evidence away.
Yeah.
The fact that nobody knew of S4 until he said about it. So nobody knew that this existed, and then he said, "Oh, by the way, there's this place called S4. It's in Area 51," and then the government had to come out and go, "Yeah, there is this secret testing lab that's right next to Area 51 called S4, but what he says about S4 isn't true." So how did he know about S4 if nobody else did?
Yeah. Yeah, makes total sense.
And the element coming out, he predicted an element 115. Okay, from doing a bit of reading there, from what we did earlier, the element is there. The properties they think are possible, but they can't get it in a stable state.
Yeah, it's an isotope though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then the hand scanner, the fact that has slowly come to light to be a thing that can happen, and he said about this stuff years ago. Is it that he threw enough shit at the wall and some of it has stuck?
Oh no, it's matching too much.
Yeah.
For it to be like that.
So I'm on the fence, to be honest. So it's one of the things where I want to believe it.
Really?
I want to believe it, and then it's like some of the stuff is very outland. Like how many alien ships are there?
Yeah, but I think the amount of things he got right, I don't see why he would have the need to accentuate it.
But the thing that his house keeps from getting raided and stuff like that. That is like a bit of a why you keep on raiding his house like 30 years after this shit happened and you still haven't found anything.
Yeah.
And the reasons that you keep on saying that you're getting raided don't really match up. It's just that's the easiest thing to get past for you to get a raid. That makes me think that it's true. The stuff that he's got right at the minute is very loose. So the element 115, they think it can do what he said, but they can't test it yet.
Yeah, but
because
have they been told to keep under wraps about it?
But it's not like they've only found this element and then they've stopped. There is an element 116, 117 and 118.
Yeah, but
so they find more elements all of the time.
What I mean, like, is it just the fact that they can't?
But the fact that we want to do the shit that aliens like, if you was to say like right now in 2022, what is the thing that we want to do most? It'd be able to go to Mars, super quick, as quickly as possible. I think it's in the best interest of the human race if that element could do it, not to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, but
do you know what I mean? Because they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be sending people to Mars. We are going to be colonising Mars. They're talking about. This is interesting. They talk about nuking Mars to create an atmosphere to warm up Mars to make it the same as Earth.
Of course, nukes had to be the option.
Yeah, yeah.
Out of everything.
But it's realistically, it's in the best interest.
How the hell would they even get a nuke to Mars?
It's only like 30 years to get to Mars at the minute.
Yeah, but a nuke, something containing unsustainable reactions in time.
Yeah, we have nuclear bombs that just sit in storage.
No, but I'm all about travelling that far.
Yeah, you just fucking send it in a rocket, don't you?
What was in flight? Oh, okay, right. I know what I mean. Well, so fly a rocket, just drop it on it.
Yeah, just fucking pew. Probably a few.
Thanks for the little description there. I didn't know how a bomb worked.
No, they'd probably have to drop a few in different locations across Mars, but.
Oh yeah, no.
There wouldn't just be one that would just do it, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes is it a part of me that thinks that some big people that they just get hard about dropping bombs. Why is it always a go-to solution? Something's wrong. Oh, drop a bomb. This country doesn't agree. Drop a bomb on them.
But no. So yeah, I'm a bit on the fence with Bob. I like your story. I like that a lot of it matches up. I like that it's something that we can all talk about and relate to. But I do take everything that he says with a pinch of salt.
Fair enough.
And that's kind of like what everybody says about everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like we say that we run a business and we think it's really successful. People take it with a pinch of salt because they might think that our successful is different to their successful.
Like I said, perspective. It's all perspective.
But no, fuck, we covered more than Bob Lazar, but Bob Lazar was the main focus. Bob Lazar made us talk about science, and that's the issue.
Yeah. But to be fair, we never stay fully on track of one thing anyway because we have too many thoughts. Oh, what about? Oh, that doesn't.
Yeah, we get excited. But no, so Bob Lazar, we may cover it in more detail. Like we might go away and get really into it, and
yeah, later on we might do an
or we might be able to get a Bob Lazar enthusiast on to the podcast and teach us some cool shit.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Science and things like that is an interest of ours. So, like we said, you might see more podcasts related to things like this. Amongst other interests, we have got other ideas in the works that we'll be recording as well. We just want to give a broad, comedic,
This podcast is about Mason Productions, but Mason Productions is about us.
Yeah, very well.
So we just fucking chat shit.
You really want?
We do just chat shit on this podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, but we keep it raw. We keep it loose. We don't want it to seem like we're just going right, Dan. Let's read this script. Okay, hi, my name is.
Yeah, we talk about the business, and when we've got stuff for the business, like there'll be one coming out before this that's about the business.
Yeah.
About an update, so that will be there. But no, I guess we'll wrap it up with Bob. We've covered a bit.
Yeah.
We could probably cover a bit more, but if you are a Bob Lazar enthusiast and you want to teach us something, drop us a DM, drop us an email, get us contact, come on the pod. We can have you on Zoom. We'd love it. Thank you very much.
Also, if you have any details that we've missed, got wrong, or something added extra we could probably use for a later podcast, feel free to add any information.
We keep everything. So like that, drop us an email, we'll get it sorted. But no, I guess it's been Dan from Mason Productions.
I'm Tyler from Mason Productions.
Oh wait. Oh, I didn't do the fucking thing again. Like